So we are currently on our way to Jamie, the hot rod shop. I was having electrical issues since Thursday. So yeah, we've been having some electrical problems. We're gonna take it to the hot rod shop, see if we can hook it up, fix it, see what it is. I don't know if it's the sounds, I don't know if the sound shakes something up. But it's just low voltage, nothing serious. Just maybe a bad wire or something got unloose. But yeah, let's go over there and see what Jamie says. So we just got to the hot rod shop, so Jamie's about to check out the truck real quick. See what kind of problems we have. Let's go talk to Jamie. What's going on, Jamie?
What, how are you, Brian?
Good, bro. How you been?
Tired. I'm ready for a nap. So you're saying you unhooked that stuff?
Well, when it was making the short, I took out the fender flare and there's a bolt right on the very bottom. So when I was putting that bolt back in, it was shooting sparks. So what I did, I was like, okay, so the only thing that I changed was just the sound. So I disconnected the sounds and then I put the bolt in and it stopped shooting sparks. And I told the guy, like, hey, like, something's fucking up with the sounds that you put on. And he's like, send me a video. So I sent him a video, and these wires, I guess, was touching this, which was, I guess, touching something here, and it was causing it to like spark. He showed me that right here was I think the picture was already ripped. So I covered it with just regular electrical tape, and then I went down underneath and I put the bolt back in. Nothing happened, nothing, didn't shoot sparks or anything. So then that fixed that, and then I switched the battery and it was working fine for half a day. But then I parked it and I turned it off, and then I took a shower, getting ready for a music video shoot, and I turned it back on, and I was on my way there and it started saying low voltage. Everything was working fine, the compressors were kicking on and everything, but then all of a sudden, halfway throughout the day, towards the night, it just ended up dying. I changed the alternator just to make sure, because I was like, okay, hopefully I can get ahead of the game. So I changed it to a 170 amp instead of the 150 that it comes with. Just a little upgrade. And then I put a yellow top, I hooked everything back up, and when I connected, so I connected to that wire that you just touched, and then to the black wire that's in the back, and the truck turns right on like nothing happened. Compressors kick on, everything kicks on like normal. But as soon as I unplug it, half the truck dies.
Unplug what?
Like the like if I'm connecting it to the other truck, so I'm like, with the cables, and as soon as I unplug the cables, it started like half the truck dies. Like everything's still plugged in and everything, but the cables, I take them off from the other truck and just half the truck dies. So I don't know if maybe because there's some crazy ass sound, so it vibrates the whole fucking truck. I don't know if maybe something got loose, or because it's nothing serious, because I thought it was a fuse. So I was like, no, well, if it's the fuse, once I connect the other truck, it shouldn't, it would still work. It would still work because of the fuse. So then I switched the battery. They did tell me the battery was dead. It had I think one or two dead cells. They told me, so the battery was dead or bad. They couldn't recharge it, so I replaced it. And just for shits and giggles, I was like, you know what, let me just replace the alternator real quick, see if it's the alternator. And I replaced it, and it wasn't the alternator.
That wire should go from here to the front battery.
Yep, that one.
And it shows it's bad.
And it shows it's bad?
It shows it's at 7 volts.
At 7 volts, okay, so it's the fucking... The battery's brand new, but it did, I'm assuming it did, well, throughout the day it did die, so I'm wondering if the battery just discharged.
Well, the battery's gonna, that's why I was trying to tell you, if the alternator was bad, it'll kill a battery.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm wondering if it killed the fucking battery again.
Well, yeah, because it was running off the battery. It was never running off the alternator. So you can't even start it now. All right, so everything's reading off that battery, which that feeds the alternator, which goes to here, goes to there, which feeds us your fuse box. So that's why your fuse box in the interior acts like it has power. It's because it's off of that.
Yeah, this fucking battery.
You can test the battery, right? You can test the negative and positive and see what that's at. It should be, if it's at 12.5, this should be 12.5 here.
Okay.
This should, because it's coming right from the battery. Now, if it's less, that's telling me there's a resistance between A and B. It shouldn't be much, if any at all.
Yeah.
But when you start it, I want this lug to charge the battery needs to be, so you can test it two ways. One, you can test it here,
okay, and
see what it is when it's running. Whatever it is here should be super close to what it is here.
Over there, right? Okay.
So if it's not, then we have to question why and what do we have to do to remedy that.
Okay.
Because right now that battery is putting voltage here, which is, and then return going to here, which is going to your fuse box, but it's not enough to transfer.
Transfer it all the way over there. Gotcha.
Right. And that's what I'm questioning. So there's fusible links here, and one of these, this fusible link could essentially be gone as well. Yeah, I'm wondering if, so if you, this here is replaceable. If this bolt comes out, these unhook from here, and this whole mechanism is replaceable. But what makes me concerned is all this metal bracket should be close to this voltage, because this lug's coming here. So it almost tells me like this here is bad. That's why it's not going through and going to the other lugs.
Gotcha.
So let me move a couple cars, I guess, and we'll try to make it so it like can go right off in a spot. Just hopefully by Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'll get Mike on order in that piece, right? You know, after he's done with lunch. We'll try to get that today, and that'll take care of hopefully moving it and this and that, and then we'll take care of the battery situation. And I think we'll be good. I mean,
yeah.
As bad as it is, that's you know, so far. Hopefully that's it, moment.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you, man, so very much. So we just got the truck back from the hot rod shop. Jamie fixed a couple of other things. He added some new hood struts. The last ones that I've had before the HD front end were perfect, but now since we switched the front end, they were heavy, so he switched that. He switched a fuse holder that goes on top of the battery. That's what ended up, I'm guessing, blowing. We ended up switching the battery. We ended up switching the alternator. We upgraded the alternator to a 170 amp alternator instead of the stock one. Little upgrade. And I'll show you guys what we basically switched, changed, and what Jamie ended up doing. So what Jamie ended up switching was this whole unit right here, this whole plate. This is what really went out, was shorted out when the wires were touching. And why it went out was because one of these wires were ripped and it was touching the battery, and I guess it's touching the tub. What caused the problem was that this live wire was touching metal, and since it was parked for about a week or two, I guess all that just shorted out. And what we ended up changing was, well, personally, I switched the alternator and then the battery. I don't know if you'll be able to see the battery, but the battery is somewhere underneath there. So yeah, we ended up switching the battery Saturday. That took us about all day because we had to remove literally the whole front end. We had to remove the grill, the whole bumper pad, the whole bumper to get to the battery. Valió pura verga. Valió pura verga. Valió pura verga. And Sunday we ended up switching the alternator, thinking it was the alternator, but it turns out it was that fuse thing. What would be that thing right there that ended up going out. So we dropped it off at Jamie. Jamie ended up switching it out. He had it ready to me, I think, on Wednesday. I took it to him on Monday, had it ready for Wednesday, so that way we were able to have the truck ready for the EM meet that's happening in downtown Detroit. Truck's all ready, truck's all good, works good, air compressors work great. Truck came back to normal. And then also Jamie added these ones. This is what I was talking about that was weak. He added stronger ones to hold the whole HD hood, which is a little bit heavier. But yeah, that's about it.
Y estamos al 313, compadre. Puro estilo 45. escuchaba gente.